Hello everyone, this is Gorax with DragonHeir Silent Gods video covering another Chief Challenge boss, SHINNAH. Today I'll show you 7 teams, of which 2 are free-to-play friendly that can deal enough damage on this boss. During my runs, I will not be using any mythical equipment and my gear will not be optimized. If you have mythic equipment or gear with better stats, you will do much better. Also, my Psychic Core is not maxed out, as you can see on the picture. SHINNAH applies Frost and then ignores 35% of defense when attacking enemy inflicted with Frost, which makes it quite hard to survive when you don't have access to powerful supports. However, when you have access to powerful supports like SHINNAH, then he alone is more than enough to keep your team alive, even without the Moonlight Mantle. The fight is also very random, as SHINNAH's ultimate hits random enemies, so you might need to run it few times to see the average before you saving your highest score. Other than that, there is nothing complicated about the fight. So let's have a look at the teams. If you're looking for a team to do the most damage against SHINNAH, you will use your wild heroes. Flora is obviously the best wild hero and will do tremendous damage here. We are currently running 2 supports just to make sure we survive the whole battle, and we're doing 121 million damage. The equipment is very basic. We're using Enlightenment set on Flora, we're using Cyril set and Gatekeeper staff on SHINNAH, and we're using Witch's Remain and Emissary set, and we're using Poison of the Swamp on Tonalnen, as this is one of the best artifacts in the game. You can build Tonalnen with barely any crit rate because she's got passive 20, so if you look at the stats of Tonalnen, she's at only like 57% of crit rate. 30% comes from the artifact and 20 comes from her passive. So we can focus on crit damage, giving us a chance to boost the damage, although Flora is the main damage dealer here. And last is Crisis with Vest to make sure we survive. This boss does actually quite significant damage, but again, I'm not using the mythical equipment, so there's no mythical chest on SHINNAH, so the shields and heals are lower. If you get that, you can skip Crisis, you can skip second support really. As you can see, these are the timings, so basically we're just juggling the shields. Remember that SHINNAH ultimate is cast 5 seconds, the healing portion is cast 5 seconds after the initial cast of the ultimate, so the shield will happen there as well. And these are the basic timings: Flora first, followed by Witch's Remain applier and Tonalnen to do damage. But if you decide to go single support, if you have the chance, the damage of the team will go up to 149 million, and this is the best team I managed to do. And we're gonna use Felicity with Witch's Remain as well, because she is one of the best to apply it. This will get her a chance to apply it constantly, almost constantly. And the timings on SHINNAH will change. You need to make sure you cast his ultimate just before the boss ultimate, and this is where the damage is coming from. The first 2 skills don't do that much damage, basically this, but the ultimate is hitting a lot, and when the boss applies Frost through this skill, she ignores the defense and it stacks. This damage is quite significant. You'll notice that the most teams will survive way less than in previous seasons, but this is the best team here. But it is RNG based, okay? This team can do 100 million, but it can go up to 149. It's just basically this boss is very RNG because this can kill a single hero very quickly or can spread the damage across multiple heroes like in previous seasons, because we had similar boss. Now, if you don't have Flora but you have Ascetius, you're looking at 79 million damage with 2 supports, again basically mirroring what we've done with the wild team, and we're using Ascetius with Durham and Pikestone as well, as he's great enabler for the burn team, and his damage is also not too bad overall. and timings again, we're juggling these shields here to ensure they are constantly on, so we can survive. Now if you decide to run this with an extra damage dealer, and obviously I'm using the new one, my turn, but you might consider putting something else as well, the damage will go to 89 million. There might be a strategy going with double ultimate on Ascetius, but I've never done it myself. But yeah, as you can see again, if you manage to keep this team alive for the 5 minutes, you can get away with a single support. And again, I'm not using that chest here, so with the chest it is only going to be easier, and no mythical gloves as well, so the damage will be significantly increased as well. Now for those of you who don't have any exclusive heroes, this wild team will still be really good, and this is something I will run myself. Again, no mythical chest, the team can survive but sometimes dies before 5 minutes, but is doing a solid 68 million, which is not that far away from the burn team. The skill timing is very simple. We put Felicity as Witches Remain applier. She's on default. We got Alfie that will help us with the wild checks, making her constantly apply Witches Remain, and our damage dealers will be Eric and Tonalnen with only one support, and the equipment is as follows, using Ravatrix roots here over here, because I changed things around with Poison of the Swamp on Eric. You can tweak around, increase the damage as well. Definitely a solid choice for this boss if you're trying to compete. Now, moving on to the two free-to-play friendly teams, I prepared the wild team, as you can see here, and I wanted to use different supports than used in Questitia. So on Questitia, I used Hexandra as the free-to-play friendly hero. I used Vikuk here, the spiritual burner here, to ensure he's got 18-second cooldown on his ultimate, and I'm bringing a shield similar to Scenarial Shield, but Adolphus doesn't heal, so we need some extra healing, which is coming from Vikuk, and we have to go double haste set here and haste runes as well to ensure his timing is below 18 seconds, because we want to cast the shield before the boss's ultimate, as you can see here. Also, the casting on Vikuk is to dispel and topaz before that ultimate. So we'll dispel the frost, so the first few hits of the ultimate will not ignore defense of our damage dealers, and Folly works really well. I tried Alfie here, but we were lacking damage. Folly's damage potential is very good, especially with the new set that is really working well with her attack speed. Her damage is coming from the basic attack, so it's really helpful. We got Tonalnen with Eyeball of the Giant, and as always say, Eric with Witches Remain, as at this point free-to-play players should have at least one mythical artifact, and hopefully you invested in the right one, which is Witches Remain. As you can see, totally free-to-play friendly, 25 million achievable. But even if you don't want to run the wild team, you can use the same supports basically, but with the burn team. It will be a little bit harder to achieve that damage because of how burn works, but it is achievable. And as you can see, I used Martyrax gem here. You could probably go with Eyeball of the Giant as well, but all of these are easily accessible, and the supports don't really change. The damage dealers, as you can see, we got 2 serial sets as well, although this one is not necessary because we have Vikuk with this as well. But if you decide to run this and you feel like your team is dying, you can put Ancestral Protection set on Vikuk to mitigate the damage from this boss. And the skill timing still very simple. As you can see, the supports don't change. Percival is going to cast first to give everyone attack up, because Biggs is doing quite significant damage with the build I got on him, and he applies Witches Remain, and then we just use all the stacks of the burn to deal massive damage with Arrakis. And that's basically it. SHINNAH is looking like the easiest, the simplest boss. However, do not neglect her damage. If you are using weaker supports, you will need both of them. If you're using a Scenario, then you can get away with a single support using the Moonlight Mantle, which I didn't use during my test, so this will be only easier for you going forward. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please click the like button and consider subscribing to my channel. As always, thank you for watching, stay safe, bye!